The house on Lindley Street still stands, though no one who lives nearby will admit out loud. Taxi drivers pretend the address doesn't exist. Delivery men leave packages at the corner. Even the city records listed as vacant, a word that feels dishonest because something has never left that place. What follows is stitched together from police reports, hospital notes, handwritten journals, and interviews given by people who never agreed on anything except one detail. The house was never empty. In 1972, the Hargreave family moved into the two-story Victorian after the previous owner died alone in the upstairs bedroom. The official cause was heart failure. The unofficial detail, left out of the papers, was that the man had been dead for at least 3 weeks before anyone found him, seated upright in a chair, eyes open, fingernails broken and bloody as if he tried to claw his way out of something invisible. The Hargreaves didn't know this. All they knew was that the house was cheap, the neighborhood was quiet, and the walls were thick enough to block the sound of the nearby highway. Perfect for a family starting over. From the first night, the house made itself known. It began with sound. Not footsteps. Those come later, but breathing. Long, careful exhales that seemed to move from room to room. Mrs. Hargreave assumed it was pipes adjusting to the cold. Mr. Hargreave blamed the wind. Their youngest son, Caleb, said it sounded like someone was counting. On the third night, he woke screaming. They found him standing in the hallway at 3:17 a.m., staring at the closed door of the spare bedroom. His pajama pants were wet, his face pale and stiff, as if his skin had been pulled too tight over his skull. He was in there. Caleb kept saying, he was in there, and he doesn't like when we breathe too loud. No one slept much after that. The house had a smell that came and went without warning. Old iron and damp wood, like a basement that had learned to rot. The odor always appeared in the same places. The staircase, the spare bedroom, and the narrow space between the kitchen wall and the pantry door. Mrs. Hargreave scrubbed until her hands cracked, but the smell returned stronger each time. As if offended, then objects started moving. A chair pulled away from the dining table by itself. A framed wedding photo turning face down overnight. Shoes lined neatly by the front door every morning, even after everyone swore they hadn't touched them. Mr. Hargreave began keeping notes. He wrote down times, locations, patterns. At first, he treated it like a puzzle, something explainable, something rational. But there was one pattern he couldn't explain. Every night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the house settled. Not quieted, settled, like a living thing adjusting its weight. Caleb refused to sleep alone. When his parents insisted, he dragged his mattress into the hallway so he could see the corners. He said the dark gathered there differently, thicker, like it was waiting. One evening, Mrs. Hargreave found handprints on the inside of the spare bedroom closet. They were small, smeared, and placed too high up the wall to belong to a child. When she tried to wipe them away, the paint came off of it, revealing older marks underneath, dozens of them, layered. That night, the closet door opened on its own. Not quickly, not violently, just enough to watch. The first death happened in the house 2 months later. It was a family dog. They found it twisted at the bottom of the stairs, neck bent at an angle no fall could explain. The vet said the animal likely broke its own spine trying to escape something. Mr. Hargreave asked escape from what? The vet didn't answer. Neighbors began to complain about noise, crying, banging, and something like chanting that came from the house late at night. The Hargreaves denied it, embarrassed and defensive, but secretly relieved someone else could hear it too, because by then the voices had started. They came from inside the walls, soft at first, almost tender, calling names, sometimes the wrong ones. Caleb started answering them. He would sit at the bottom of the staircase, whispering back, nodding as if listening to instructions. When his parents pulled him away, he screamed like they were hurting him, his eyes fixed on something just over their shoulders. He says, "You're lying," Caleb told his mother once, calmly. He says this was always his house. Records show that before the man who died in the chair, the house had 3 other owners in 30 years. 2 died inside. 1 vanished completely. Police found no signs of forced entry, no struggle, just an open front door and every mirror in the house shattered. Mr. Hargreave found that detail in the public library. He didn't tell his wife. Instead, he boarded up the spare bedroom. That was a mistake. The banging started immediately, not from the door, but from inside the walls, knuckles rapping slowly, deliberately, moving from one side of the room to the other. At night, something scratched the floor beneath their bed, tracing shapes over and over again until carpet fibers wore thin. Mrs. Hargreave stopped sleeping. Dark veins spread beneath her eyes. She began insisting someone stood at the foot of the bed every night, breathing down at her, close enough she could feel warmth on her face. When she turned on the light, nothing was there, but the indentation on the mattress remained. Caleb stopped talking altogether. He communicated by drawing instead. Every picture showed the same thing. The house, split open like a wound, filled with tall, crooked figures pressed into every room, stacked inside the walls, inside the floors, inside each other. In the center, always watching, was a man with no eyes and a mouth stretched too wide. The night everything ended, a storm knocked out the power across the neighborhood. At 3:17 a.m., the house settled harder than it ever had before. Neighbors reported a sound like the entire structure exhaling. Inside, the Hargreaves ran from room to room as doors slammed shut on their own. The temperature dropped, so suddenly their breath fogged the air. The walls began to weep, thin lines of dark liquid seeping from the corners and running down like tears. Mr. Hargreave tried to reach the front door. It would not open. The spare bedroom boards cracked, then burst inward with snapping like bone. Something came out, dragging itself forward with careful patience, as if it had waited years for permission. Police found the family at dawn. Mrs. Hargreave was in the kitchen, curled beneath the table, her mouth stretched open in a silent scream. Her eyes were clouded white, as though she had stared into something too bright for too long. Mr. Hargreave was found in the spare bedroom chair, seated upright, eyes open, fingernails broken and bloody. Caleb was never found. The house was condemned. Boards went up over the windows. Signs warned people away. But vandals reported hearing breathing inside. Teenagers dared each other to knock on the door and run. Every one of them described the same thing: the sound of something moving closer on the other side. In 1998, the city attempted demolition. Workers fled the site after tools went missing, reappearing inside sealed rooms. One man fell to the floor and broke both legs. He swore something grabbed him from below and tried to pull him further down. The project was abandoned. Today, the house still stands on Lindley Street. If you pass it at night, you might notice the lights flicker in rooms with no electricity. You might smell damp iron in the air. And if you're very quiet, if you stop breathing for just a moment, you may hear someone counting softly inside the walls, not to scare you away, to let you know the house has been listening the whole time.